and names. Broken future, shattered dreams. End of times ain't what it seems.
Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, August 12th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. What do we have for you today? Martial law in D.C. as the MAGA conservatives cheer it on, it appears. Trump threatening to roll out the National Guard to all, quote, blue cities out there. The White House posted, let me show you this. Again, reporting on the crime syndicate, the federal government, this absurdity. Nobel Peace Prize. Worldwide calls for President Trump to receive Nobel Peace Prize. We'll get to more of that. What else? A bunch of fake economic data. It's BS, man. It's hard to even report on the economy, honestly, because of all the lies, the never-ending lies. The report is end the private central bank cartel, put the issuancy of currency and credit back under the Treasury, or it's just all smoke and mirrors, which it's been for the past 100+ years. And is Trump going to arrest the heads of all these banks? I doubt it. And they're cleaning up D.C. Well, they should all turn themselves into the FEMA camps. That is Congress, the executive, all of them, the friggin' courts, all of them, the entire federal government. Go turn yourselves into the FEMA camps. And then I would believe you're cleaning up D.C. crime there now. Picking on homeless junkies. They're cleaning up the crime there. What else do we got? The Department of Homeland Security. The creeping police state. It's not even creeping. It's here and it's expanding in our face. They're rolling out, Trump administration, we'll get to it, but domestic civil disturbance quick reaction force. MAGA cheered on, I guess. Conservatives will cheer it on. Well, if there's a Democrat president doing it, they'd be screaming bloody murder, and just shows you what a clown world it all is, your partisan politics here in America. What else do we got? ICE. ICE says that they've had over 100,000 applications. They probably have. ICE is buying this mobile iris scanning technology. That's not technocracy, police state, scientific dictatorship at all, is it? We had some reports about this immigration. Of course, DHS says it's fake news. They're forming protest here in Southern California, as you would expect. Boy with special needs detained by ICE outside LA school. DHS says it's fake news. Trust the government. We have public health news here. The NIH of Fauci fame. A couple reports out of them, but they announced Generation Gold Standard, universal non-mRNA whole virus technology for broad and durable protection. Are we allowed to even talk about it? It's a post from NIH. I don't know. Trump's bad, YouTube. Got me. Go over that. The Canada Maids program. More reporting on that. How horrific all of that has become. More reporting on scientific dictatorship, technocracy. Looks like OpenAI is, they want their own brain implant. And so now it's a battle of brain chips between OpenAI and Musk. All that's wonderful, of course. Take your brain chip. Don't question anything. Trust the government. Back and forth on this upcoming Putin-Trump summit in Alaska as they keep killing each other over there senselessly. It's George Soros's 95th birthday. What else do we got? A bunch of aardvark genocide, ethnic cleansing news. They're making the big move. Netanyahu's not shy about it. All of that and much more on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Let's get to this day in history. We did have quite a bit. To report on this day in history. On August 12th, going all the way back to the year 3, conjunction of Venus and Jupiter on August 12th, the year 3 BC, a popular theory for biblical Star of Bethlehem, talking about those Venus and Jupiter conjunction, is theorized to be the Star of Bethlehem on this day. Jumping way forward in history, about 1,500 years, to the year 1553 on this day, Pope Julius III orders the confiscation and burning of the Aardvark Talmud. I wonder why. One of the main sources of Aardvark law and theology. I wonder why. Something about, I don't know, Jesus in hell boiling in a cauldron of his own semen? I don't know. Maybe something like that. It's pure Satanism? I don't know. The Pope being antiseptic there in 1553. Pope Julius on this day. Moving forward here 100 years or so to 1658 on this day, we saw first American police force form in New Amsterdam. We do love our police state here. And the irony is, how are you back the blue and don't tread on me at the same time here now? Many confused patriot cowboy rednecks out there in the world, it appears. In 1676, on this day, we saw the first war between American colonists and American Indian peoples end in New England. In 1851, on this day, the Singer sewing machine, part of the Industrial Revolution, a big part of it actually, American inventor Isaac Singer patents his famous sewing machine on this day in 1851. In 1865, we saw the first antiseptic surgery, not to be confused with antiseptic behavior hate against aardvarks. In 1865, on this day, British surgeon Joseph Lister performs the first antiseptic surgery using carbolic spray on instruments and bandages. Well, he's a damn heretic, don't you know? In 1877, on this day, in 1869 on this date, self-proclaimed Emperor Joshua Abraham Norton of the United States of America issues an edict abolishing the Democrat and Republican parties. Not a bad idea, but kind of hard to get the government behind you when you're a self-proclaimed emperor, but a damn good idea going all the way back to 1869. In 1877, on this day, Thomas Edison's phonograph. To his amazement, Thomas Edison records himself reciting Mary had a little lamb on his newly completed cylinder phonograph, a device that records sound onto tin foil cylinders. In 1898, on this day, we saw the peace protocol in the Spanish-American War. It was signed on this day. In 1908, we saw the first Model T car roll off the assembly line. Ford Motor Company builds its first Model T car, which Henry Ford himself tests on a hunting trip to Wisconsin and northern Michigan. Quite an achievement there for the automobile. And the assembly line as well, major piece of the Industrial Revolution right there. In 1914, France and Great Britain declare war on Austria-Hungary, kicking off World War I, a big part of it there. In 1930, Clarice Birdseye is granted a patent for a method of quick freezing food. Of course, the Birdseye frozen vegetables, still around today. In 1966, John Lennon apologizes. The Beatles hold a press conference at the Astor Tower Hotel in Chicago, Illinois, where John Lennon apologizes for his more popular than Jesus remark, saying the Beatles are more popular than Jesus. They may have been at that time. In 1972, last American combat troops leave Vietnam. And in 1981, Don Estridge unveils the company's first personal computer, the IBM PC, at New York's walled-off Astoria Hotel, priced at $1,565 with 16 kilobytes of RAM, helping bring computing to the masses. Also, every time you mention IBM, you should remember that they put those tattoos on the concentration camp victims' arms. They're tattooed them on there for more efficient executions at the Nazi concentration camps there. But somehow, some way, IBM suffers no shame for this from aardvarks. Isn't that interesting? And then let's take a look at our civil rights history. Going back to the year 1923 on this day, report condemns violations of rights of miners in coal fields. The Committee on Coal and Civil Liberties on this day delivered a report to the U.S. Coal Commission, a federal agency that condemned the violation of the rights of coal miners in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Alabama. Miners lived in rental houses on mine corporation property and were forced to sign leases prohibiting any visitors in their homes. Law enforcement, meanwhile, was largely controlled by the mine company, with deputy sheriffs being paid by coal corporations. The sheriff of Fayette County in West Virginia, for example, employed 6,180 deputies, all paid by the mine owners. Of course, the company town, right, working for the company store. And indeed, that did occur in this country. Moving forward here to the year 2013, on this day of our civil liberties, New York City's police stop and frisk practices ruled unconstitutional. A U.S. District Court judge in Floyd versus New York City on this day declared the stop and frisk practices of the New York City Police Department unconstitutional in violation of both the 4th and 14th Amendments. The stop and frisk controversy had raged for 14 years in the city, while the New York Police Department and Mayor Michael Bloomberg refused to listen to continuing community complaints. At its peak in 2012, New York PD officers stopped over 600,000 people and frisked about half of them annually. About 86% of those stopped were people of color. Additionally, only 12% of those stopped were arrested or given a citation, meaning the police were wrong in 88% of the stops. Well, who cares? It's a police state for your own safety. Who cares about your rights? MAGA, we're tired of winning. Do we see a continuing disturbing trend about the violation of our civil rights and our natural rights in this country, all in the name of public safety? And with that, do we have a segue here? Looks like we have Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy joining us. Let's find our segue. Where's our segue? Did I have a short clip? Yeah, here's a short clip of this joker. What's his name? Benny Johnson. He has a giant, one of these influencers, anti-establishment, now pro-establishment, government shill propagandist, making a funny there at the White House press briefing today.
Given the heroic actions of a member of this administration just a few blocks from this building, will the president consider giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Big Balls?
I haven't spoken to him about that, but perhaps it's something he would consider. I'll ask him and get back to you, Benny. Thanks for being here. Gabe.
It's so cute and funny. Well, thank you, Big Balls, for helping usher in technocracy. That's much appreciated. And now let's segue to Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy. How you doing this Tuesday, Thomas?
Doing well. Good to be here back on Weaponized News again. How's my mic? Is the sound coming in? A little bit of a technical disturbance this morning.
It's coming in. Your video's kind of delayed there.
It's a little bit, signal's a little bit choppy here today. The stock market absolutely ripping to new all-time record highs in the trading session earlier today. Pretty amazing, the strength of it. Only on nothing news, on only inflation numbers coming out, so showing slightly lower inflation, but the inflation rate still quite high, and most people complaining about the inflation situation in America. Of course, the price of everything going up. People anticipating now, finally, okay, now we've got the right inflation number to cut rates, but really, actually, we don't. The monthly inflation rate change was only, it was in line with expectations at 0.2 and 0.3%, but 2.7% for the year, which is still quite high. And core inflation is at 3.1%, which is actually higher than the consensus. So you had the entire media going berserk yesterday talking about the inflation. It has come in to where they're thinking that the Fed is going to cut rates next month. So the market just absolutely is skyrocketing to new highs, effectively on nothing, which is quite strange. Yet another day of just momentum traders buying up the stocks for no reason, and we're at already record highs, and nothing really significant otherwise coming out.
We have the establishment of a police state, and so that should drive the markets. Okay, distractions. Don't be talking about Epstein. Humans have 116 days until alien spaceship reaches Earth, as it could save or destroy us. An unexplained object hurling through the universe has baffled several scientists, with one professor suggesting aliens could be on the way to Earth. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
the fake alien invasion scam that was exposed by top officials at NASA, of course, turning whistleblower against it. Even Werner von Braun was turning whistleblower against this, saying that they were going to do it. Only a matter of time. TikTok, people were wondering, like, okay, well, when's this coming? When are they going to pull this scam on us? So it's been a long time coming, and they're still trying to push it. It's pretty outrageous when the technology that we make finally gets good enough, then they're going to use it. And that's what it's always been. And of course, they're going to try to hide it, just as they've always been hiding everything, and lie that it's all from aliens. I mean, it's amazing how they love to insult the intelligence of humanity and claim that this is from, some aliens, and pretend that all of the breakthrough energy innovators magically just don't exist. All of us, through all of history. None of them exist, and yet every single clickbait influencer out there is clickbaiting off of these people and shitbaiting off of them to use them, right? Every dead innovator that there is, Nikola Tesla, Stanley Meyer, everybody, right?
Aliens, it's
endlessly
little green men, Thomas. Little green men. Okay.
Yeah, none of us exist. 15,000 clean tech innovators on a single list. None of them ever promotes them, talks about them, funds them, finances them. And I was just trying to volunteer to help another UN organization, a UN-funded organization in Cambodia, an entrepreneur development fund. I was trying to help them, go to them. I just got blocked by them on social media yesterday. We're trying to help. They're taking a bunch of UN money and just an entrepreneur development fund. You would think that they're going to fund something finally fund the very first startup fund. They talk about it. That's the rhetoric. They've been here for 3 years, have done nothing. They're advertising for consultants to apply, for them to spend huge amount of money on consultants to come up with a standard operating procedure manual of how to invest in startups. Meanwhile, there's 375 startup programs, right, that are faking that they do this, and none of them have ever actually done it, not a single funding in all of their existences. And you would think that they have a standard operating procedure manual. Why couldn't they just get a manual from them, or from the universities, or why not from venture capitalists? Why not from the founders? Right? But they're going to hire consultants from employee service organizations instead, that don't do this, have never done this before, aren't even interested in it, aren't part of the industry. They're going to hire somebody else to do it.
Seems reasonable.
For 4 months.
Here's this.
More millions of dollars instead of actually funding any of the entrepreneurs. Well, hey, thanks, UN. Thanks.
Sounds like a wise investment. Here's more of the UN Youth Advisory Group on Climate Change. Today, as part of events to make #Youth Day, the UN Sustainable Development Goals announced 14 young leaders who will form a third cohort of his youth advisory group on climate. Young people's fearless advocacy has been pivotal in the fight against the climate crisis. Gutierrez, Secretary General of the United Nations. And so look for these young and upcoming influencers to shame you about your carbon emissions in the very near future.
I recognize the the guy in the second row from the top in the red square there on the left. I recognize him. He's a fake out guy that's being propped up in kind of his specialty is actually talking about some of these dead innovators. But he doesn't, he carefully straddles the line, walks the line to not actually educate people on any of their technologies. He doesn't go into any of that. He's not open sourcing anything. He's kind of faking that he's making something. He doesn't talk about anybody, again, who's alive now. I mean, if he really wanted to promote breakthrough energy, he could talk about all the breakthrough energy innovators that are out there now. He could showcase them. He could do a raise for them. He's not doing that. He's not doing that for us. And he comes out of the intelligence agency centers in Europe, out of Sweden, Norway, Finland, right? The big, right? CIA and Wallenberg, CIA dragnets with these massive data centers, the Ericsson scandals, and so on. He comes out of that regime of intelligence agency centers and orchestrators, and I've talked to those people before as well. They have their networks over here. I talked to them at length, and it's just another distraction regime. And they're working to prop up over 30,000 of these people. There's another organization similar to the WEF, where they have the World Economic Forum Young Global Leaders. They have this new one, and now they're going this direction, and they're making pockets of them. And when they talk development, all of these United Nations and these climate people, you would think, and we're sold to believe, that what they're actually doing is financing and funding the startups and entrepreneurs out there in these markets, but they're not doing that at all. They couldn't care less about that. What the word development means to them is development of front organizations. And several of these intelligence agency heads, like Mike Benz, as an example, has been exposing that on television for the entire last 12 months. And that's something new that I've learned as well, though I've been to all of these development orgs, and it's very clear they're not doing anything of what they say. And it's all in massive intelligence agency dragnet, as Elon Musk also exposed through Doge, over 70,000 NGOs in the American dragnet alone. And here's another one, and they just keep making more of them. So this is the development that they're doing. Just like the example where here you have another 3 years of UN funding. They haven't funded a single startup. They don't even so much as have a manual. And now they get right. This is the kind of bullshit that we have to endure.
Well, they're trying.
Actually, in the industry.
Trying, Thomas, as are the World Bank and the IMF. They're trying to help the third world. And Trump's trying to bring world peace here from the White House. Worldwide calls for President Trump to receive Nobel Peace Prize. And he's got the Prime Minister of Armenia, the President of Azerbaijan, your guy right there in Cambodia, Prime Minister of Cambodia. I don't even know what the heck this place is. Gabon. Should probably figure that. Gabon.
Yes,
of course, Aardvarkland, Bibi, our real president, Pakistan, and Rwanda. All these heads of state for these countries have nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. But then the problem comes to the fact that in his first 200 days, Trump has bombed Iraq, Syria, Iran, Somalia, and Yemen. And so I guess for the fake peace prize, he should probably get it for all these bombing five different countries there now in his first 200 days, Thomas.
Yeah, well, that's the power of bribery, right? We're gonna tax the hell out of you unless you give us a peace prize. And
okay, you got a little bit ahead, but let's hear your thoughts on Levitt, press secretary Barbie woman, on her comments on the rigged economic data.
We continue to see positive economic reports across the board. Today's CPI report revealed that inflation beat market expectations once again, and inflation remains stable. Overall, inflation has run at a 1.9 average annual pace in President Trump's first 6 months in office. Prices for everyday goods continue to decline. Energy prices fell in July, including gasoline, which is down nearly 10% over last year, and propane, which is down 2.5% over last year as well. Egg prices fell once again in July and are down 20% since President Trump took office. Shelter inflation, the largest contributor to overall inflation, is at its lowest level since October of 2021. Wage growth for American workers is beating inflation once again. As inflation declines, this administration continues to be wholeheartedly committed to putting more money back into the American people's pockets. American real wages are up 1.3% over last year and have increased each month since President Trump took office. And small business optimism, according to this morning's report, has also reached a 5-month high. Ignore the panicans and trust in President Trump. That is our motto here at the White House.
Trust in President Trump, Thomas. Trust the plan. Haven't we heard this propaganda? It's we're watching reruns of old, tired, burnout propaganda here now. Trust President Trump. Trust in Trump.
Yeah, I don't know where she's getting the data. That's not the data that was out yesterday. The data that was out yesterday was 2.7%.
It's whatever they say, and they just fired that Labor Department statistician woman because her job numbers were not up to their rigged data standards. Okay.
Right. So year over year, let's read them very quickly for the people. Year over year, United States core inflation rate year over year. The previous figure was 2.9%.
And what's your source for this data?
This is what was announced yesterday. This is the data that came out everywhere. Everybody in the financial world has this. I don't know where the hell she's reading hers off, but it's not anything that anybody in the stock market is working off of. So 2.9% was the previous number. The consensus, they were predicting that it would come in at 3%. The actual, it came in at 3.1%. So it's gone up. And it's 2 percentage points higher than what she's saying. It's at 3% for the year, core inflation. Okay, that's core inflation. There's several numbers. Then you have the United States inflation rate year over year, which is food, energy, commodities, less food and energy commodities, services, and the final category is divided into 3 subcategories: shelter, medical care, and transportation services. So they call this the United States inflation rate year over year, and you need to look to see what do those comprise. There's different ones. The previous was 2.7%. They were guessing it'd come in at 2.8%, that it would actually go up due to the tariffs, but it came in the same, 2.7%. It hasn't changed. So the regular inflation rate is exactly the same, and the core inflation rate has actually gone up by 0.2%. And it's at 3%, 3.1%, 2.7 to 3.1% are the numbers, not 1.1. If that's what you said. I mean, where the hell is...
You're a panicking.
Yeah. So so they're making something up from some new number, ignoring what the entire market got, and then stating this. So the market exploded yesterday based on this fantasy of inflation getting lower, and it's not. You have and she says, okay, the prices of gasoline have gone down. Yeah, because oil has gone down, right? The oil has gone down, and you've had massive supplies of oil worldwide, and you haven't had the drawdowns, the decreases in inventory in oil in America. There's been barely anything all summer. Usually you have these massive drawdowns in the oil supply, 15 million, 20 million barrels a month of supply decreases into the summer. It's huge. And we haven't had that this year.
You've only got one.
High. Ignore the panicans and trust in President Trump. That is our motto.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
They just lie right to your face with the bobblehead. Here, what are they doing with the homeless in D.C.? Trump gave them a warning, get out of town, basically, a couple of days ago. Is Soylent Green people? Are they making Soylent Green out of the homeless? What is going on there in D.C. As they roll out the National Guard on the streets? Let's hear from bobblehead Blondie here.
Police Department, with the support of the new federal agencies who have been surging on the streets of the District of Columbia, are going to enforce the laws that are already on the books here in Washington, D.C. For far too long, these laws have been completely ignored. and the homelessness problem has ravaged the city. So DC Code 22-1307 and DC Municipal Regulation 24-100 give the Metropolitan Police Department the authority to take action when it comes to homeless encampments. So homeless individuals will be given the option to leave their encampment, to be taken to a homeless shelter, to be offered addiction or mental health services, and if they refuse, they will be susceptible to fines or to jail time. Again, these are pre-existing laws that are already on the books. They have not been enforced, which is part of the reason for this federalizing of the National Guard to bring in this assistance for law enforcement. While we are targeting criminals and trying to remove criminals off of the streets, we also want to make DC safe and beautiful, and that involves removing mentally disturbed individuals in homeless encampments as well. So we will be using these regulations and code that already exists.
So they just criminalized being homeless in DC there, but they don't arrest the real criminals, which are the government themselves. And so they would essentially have to turn themselves into the FEMA camps and, I don't know, give homeless people the keys or illegal aliens. I don't know. And why does no one, the laws are already on the books, why does no one in DC in a position of authority, Congress, the mayor, the police chief, somebody, why don't they get in trouble for allowing it to get this bad? But let's target the homeless junkies, and they're the bad ones, not Congress here now. More of this.
Yeah. Remember when they were sending them to Martha's Vineyard, I guess. Even as angry as Trump is at Obama, they're definitely still helping him out there. They're not sending them to Martha's Vineyard. So Trump's taking it easy. Good luck seeing any charges against Obama if he's not even going to send. They're
spinning the whole thing. We got Schiff now, right? Adam Schiff. We got him, and it's just that's the narrative that you hear on the Fox News now. They're just as bad as Q conspirators on the interwebs. Denver says we want to break the law to enforce the law, anything in the name of public safety. Indeed, and
that's also a First Amendment constitutional violation to take you from public property when you're there at your own free will. It's right, and according to the Constitution, if there's public property, unless there's some other restricted area postings there, you actually have the right to sleep there. They'll try to get you in some cities for loitering laws and these kind of things. But I'm not sure if there's been a Supreme Court ruling against that. If somebody actually sleeps in a public area, can they actually get you for loitering? They make these statutes and laws in these different cities, but has that actually been contested at the Supreme Court yet? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. We had a question there in the chat on the Facebook from Bring5. The estimated cost of those bombings that Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize for are estimated between $1.6 and $2.5 billion spent on airstrikes by America in the first 6 months of 2025 there. So there's your...
Just run it on the debt. Hey, they're run it on the debt, and the stock market will go up again another 100 points, right, in a day for no reason. Well, all of the numbers for the small stocks, the bottom 490 stocks of the S&P 500 has actually been getting worse. The data has been getting worse. And she was right on the wages. There is strong wage growth at 3.1 to 3.6% on the wage growth. So the wage growth is actually, according to the data, outpacing inflation, that's nice, but it's not nice for those who are poor, homeless, retired, not working yet. I mean, it's terrible for them, right?
So the Greens people.
Not many of you picked up on this, but the United States Park Police has actually done remarkable work in terms of removing homeless encampments from the city. Since the president signed this executive order in March, 70 homeless encampments have been removed by the U.S. Park Police. There are only 2 homeless encampments remaining in D.C. federal parks under the National Park Service's jurisdiction, and the removal of those 2 remaining camps is scheduled for this week. So the U.S. Park Police will be leading this out.
So what are they doing with these people? Are they putting them in jail? Are they turning them into Soylent Green? Like, what do you do? It sounds like the same program they got going on in Gaza that we'll get to later in the program here. What are they doing with all these
Yeah, they
people
never-
throwing? You know what? I guess Soylent Green is people. This
Well, it doesn't sound like they have a United Nations funded program of where to put them. Maybe they'll hire some consultants to come up with it for 4 months at millions of dollars instead of funding any of them to ask the consultants what to do with them. Probably that's what they're doing right now.
we got this guy. Probably nobody will even remember, but we got a new U.S. Treasurer. 46th Treasurer of the United States. This guy should be screaming, why does the private Federal Reserve have the power to issue currency and credit when it should constitutionally be underneath the Treasury Department? But this guy, what's his name here? They don't even say his name. He's just U.S. Treasurer Brandon Beach. For those that cared about who's your U.S. Treasurer, it's this guy right here. Named today, 46th Treasurer of the United States. Who knew? And they keep talking about golden age of America economy. But again, until they fix the issuance of currency and credit, then nothing's ever going to be straight. Okay, here's a
record house prices that nobody can afford. Right, record
homeless and nobody can figure out what to do with them.
Right, no jobs. The first summer of no jobs since 2011, going back 2011, 2008 to 2011 period, and then you had several famous times in history where you have no jobs being created. Right, so we don't quite have a recession yet. In terms of economic growth, but all of the economic growth is at the top end of the spectrum. It's in it's in your majestic 7 stocks, your top 10%, or top 10, and certainly top 10% of the S&P 500. That's where all the growth is. It's not everywhere else, right?
Denver's this paranoid listener that we have. He says that it's grift, forced internment, or psychological consultation, or both, where they will happily deprogram and reprogram you. Yeah, well, hey, somebody's got to control your mind. It might as well be the state and big pharma. And don't forget, they're going to get you off your street drugs and pump a bunch of illegal pharmaceutical drugs into you and call it a day. Here,
let's show people. Let's make sure that I want to show them the source of the inflation. Let's pull this off of Grok here, off the fake intelligence. Your new god, right? You can't question. So here's the data here from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It came out. Headline CPI of the consumer price.
Are you saying the White House press lady just lied to us?
She certainly did. The annual inflation rate was 2.7% year over year, not 1.1% as she said, unchanged. So there's been no change at all. On a month-to-month basis, prices rose by 0.2%. Core CPI, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, it increased. It went up. It got worse. It increased to 3.1% year over year from 2.9% in June, right? So it actually went up. Shelter costs went up 0.2% per month. Times 12 is 2.4%, but it's actually been up at like 3% a year. Energy prices fell, but why did they fall? They fell because, again, the oil price. Oil's down to, $63 a barrel right now is where we're sitting on the oil prices. Oil is way down. And that's due to the international factors. I mean, Trump's taxing the hell out of Russian oil, trying to keep the oil price down in Russia to penalize them and force them to do what he wants, right? Put the taxes up. And then
taxing the hell out of India, too, for buying Russian oil.
Right, so then they need to do what you want. Instead of bombing them, you tax them, and okay, well, they're going to lose. So they got to kind of do what you want to get the taxes down a little bit to access your market.
It's called a protection racket extortion by the crime syndicate known as the federal government. And this is a reply to your economic numbers there, Thomas.
5-month high. Ignore the panicans and trust in President Trump. That is our motto.
I got to cut that clip out because that's an all-time classic right there. Ignore the panicins
Yeah.
and trust in President Trump.
Can you go back a little bit and share once again what she actually
Play
said?
that whole clip
The
again.
inflation number. I think it was 1.1% is what she said.
Let's play the
She's
whole
been
thing
caught.
again. It's a minute. Pardon audience, but it's just so ridiculous. But that's a big part of the show here, is exposing the government lies like almost in real time.
We continue to see positive economic reports across the board. Today's CPI report revealed that inflation beat market expectations once again, and inflation remains stable. Overall, inflation has run at a 1.9 average annual pace.
1.9 average annual pace. So I guess if you sparse it out there, they can twist and skirm and try to say that it was accurate numbers, but obviously disingenuous just by that fact alone. More on the DC police state here, how Trump DC takeover could supercharge surveillance. You think the emergency declaration combined with new tech will give government broad new abilities to watch and monitor citizens? Well, we were just told it was to clean up the homeless and the youth crime problem there for public safety. President Trump's declaration of a crime emergency in Washington, D.C. will further entwine the U.S. military and its equipment and technology in law enforcement matters, and perhaps expose D.C. residents and visitors to unprecedented digital surveillance. Defense One reports here. It's a nightmare. It's a logical extension of Palantir's operations and others, the technocracy, scientific dictatorship, police state here, as MAGA cheers it on. It's quite disturbing indeed. They're rolling out this, they got all kind of different new high-tech programs for you, spying devices, stingrays, facial recognition. It's getting very high-tech police statey here, to say the least.
I found why she's saying 1.9%. She's actually talking about Trump's first administration, right? 8 years ago, she's talking about Trump's first administration, where they had 1.9% during Trump's presidency, the average. So they're trying to pretend that that's what the number is.
Yeah,
This
enough.
This is what they're lying.
Close enough.
Wow.
The Washington Compost tells us Pentagon plan would create military reaction force for civil unrest. What are they planning for, setting the precedent for here? Are they planning on mass civil unrest? What is actually going on here? The Trump administration is evaluating plans that would establish a, quote, domestic civil disturbance quick reaction force composed of hundreds of National Guard troops tasked with rapidly deploying into American cities facing protests or other unrest. According to internal Pentagon documents reviewed by the Post, the plan calls for 600 troops to be on standby at all times so they can deploy in as little as an hour. The document says they would be split into two groups of 300 and stationed at military bases in Alabama, Arizona, with purview of regions east and west of the Mississippi, respectively. So there's your enforcement arm for the FEMA camps that they've mentioned, to go ahead and round you up and put you in a FEMA camp. Dissident panicins out there. I like this post. Who's it? Chase Oliver. I don't like this guy. He's the libertarian, but he says the worst criminals in DC are in Congress and the White House, not street crime, which isn't on the rise or some sort of crisis. Far more robberies in DC in the halls of power. Oh, that's true. They're doing the big crimes there. So I guess if you do that, you don't got to worry about much. Appeals court allows Doge access to sensitive data at several agencies. Failing New York Times reports the decision cited a Supreme Court order in June granting Doge analysis sweeping access to other data stored at Social Security Administration. And so more of the melding of all your data here into one dashboard for full-on total surveillance. 10 ways. This is a post by Jason Bassler. 10 ways Palantir has powered the deep state's secret agenda. Bat disease, health surveillance and tracking, mining massive data sets to investigate J6 capital attacks, powering algorithmic bail and pre-trial risk assessments, i.e. pre-crime, aardvark land surveillance and control of Palestinian populations, assisting ICE in mass deportation, powering predictive policing that targets activists, protesters, and communities, driving law enforcement's pre-crime and behavioral predictive systems, tracking JP Morgan's internal fraud cases. That's a funny one. Supporting CIA global intelligence and covert data operations, supporting LAPD's controversial gang database, surveilling thousands. So we do appreciate all of the technocracy, scientific dictatorship. DHS is buying mobile iris scanning tech for ICE's deportation arm. And of course, that would never be turned around on and used on American tax-paying citizens. Now, would it? ICE is procuring B2 Technologies iris and Morris systems to strengthen its enforcement and removal operations focused on deportations. These systems capture over 265 unique iris characteristics for rapid identity verification. The quote iris, like your iris, system captures over 265 points of unique characterization in formulating its algorithmic template. B2's website claims enabling identification in seconds across field and detention environments. And so this is very exciting police state news. Glad our taxpayer money is propping up our own panopticon prison enslavement system here in America. But it's all to fight the illegal aliens.
And hey, scam fraudman, Sam Altman, I call him scam fraudman.
Isn't it all the same guy? It's just with a different mask over their lizard head.
Yeah, he wants you hooked up to his WorldCoin, where he's going to iris scan everything.
We got that. He's rolling out brain chips too. Hold on that report. Allegedly, and it's probably true. It's being reported that we reported here at Weaponized News. ICE, what is it? ICE.gov. Go become an ICE agent, right? Massive recruiting effort for ICE Immigration and Custom Enforcement, headed up by ICE Barbie, dog killer lady Christy Nome there. Allegedly, they've got over 100,000 applications for Americans to join up with ICE. And of course, it's join.ice.gov. And you can go work for this crime syndicate known as the federal government. America needs you. Join ICE now. And they are repurposing classic World War I, World War II propaganda posters. And so we do give them credit for that cost-cutting measure there. Law and order, you say. Well, again, turn yourselves into the FEMA camp and throw away the key. And then maybe we'd have some law and order in America. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Put the homeless to who even knows where. I mean, right?
Soylent Green.
They built all those concentration camps for the anti-vaxxers, the witches.
Those are humanitarian quarantine camps for public health safety, Thomas.
Right. Today's witches of the Inquisition, right? How dare you question the miracle shots, which are melting down in real time all across the world, and nobody wants to take them anymore, of course. And probably half of humanity will never take one ever again.
I'm taking mine.
And everybody regrets taking it. There's not a single person who didn't take it. that regrets not taking it. Not a single
Well, it
one.
would have been worse if they didn't take it. Immigrant rights advocates kick off day of rallies, marches, and boycotts over recent raids. Let's watch this report out of ABC7 in Southern California.
Organizations are marching right now. You can see it live right there. They say they are denouncing immigration raids and lawlessness by the federal government.
Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia joins us live from MacArthur Park. Sid.
Good morning, guys. The rally just started. The march will be getting underway here in a few minutes. Let me get out of the way here and show you. There's at least a couple hundred people here gathered. It's a number of different groups, and here's why they are marching. As you go up to live from Air 7, you can see the march getting ready to start here at MacArthur Park. It's being called the Summer of Resistance. This movement is bringing together immigrant rights groups, labor unions, and faith groups to loudly voice their frustration against the recent immigration raids here.
That makes no damn sense. Labor unions are literally working against their own union members' interests if they're American citizens. Whatever, dude. And that looks like a really small rally there, honestly. Okay, this just came out today. The Mexico expels 26 high-ranking cartels to U.S. in a deal with Trump administration. And so as Trump announced the military fighting drug cartels over the last week here now, Mexico is expelling 26 high-ranking cartel figures to the United States as part of a deal with the Trump administration. American authorities are increasing pressure on criminal networks involved in drug trafficking. Again, the CIA should all take themselves to FEMA camps and turn themselves in as the world leader in drug trafficking, and we will never see that happen. This is an effort to take out competition. And so continuing here.
But they're too busy. Running aid organizations all over the world.
They're helping. Community organizer slams fascist ICE agents after arrest of U.S. citizen documenting raids. This clip's too long, but that's a headline out of Democracy Now. Yeah, so. And then the final one, and again, DHS says this is fake news. I don't know, you be the judge. Boy with special needs detained by ICE outside LA school. Let's go to this report, KTLA.
Well, maybe he was homeless.
Maybe.
Got to take him off the street, right? Put him somewhere.
Patrol agents raid Arleta High School this morning, taking a 15-year-old boy with special needs into custody at gunpoint, only to realize it was a mistake. The raid has prompted officials with the LA Unified School District to announce new measures to ensure students can travel to and from campus safely.
Carlos Salcedo is live in Arleta with the latest on the raid and reaction from parents and other students. Carlos?
Michael Sherry, good evening. This immigration enforcement operation happened on the sidewalk right outside the high school. Students were here for orientation when they see a handful of Border Patrol agents. The armed agents even dropped bullets here on the ground. And tonight, as you can imagine, parents and school district officials are calling the actions unacceptable and careless. This is video of Border Patrol agents surrounding a vehicle outside Arleta High School Monday morning. Agents are seen detaining a 15-year-old student with disabilities as his grandma was inside the car while a relative was registering for classes at the school. The teen, who goes to nearby San Fernando High, was later released on the grounds of mistaken identity.
I was very upset because our kids shouldn't have to be going through this and being scared of coming to school, or their parents dropping them off.
Soon after, parents like Yvonne received this voice message from the principal informing them of the incident.
We are aware of reports of immigration enforcement activity in the area.
Many parents we spoke with call the presence of federal agents near public school campuses shameful.
The government, our administration had stated that they were going to go after criminals. At a school, what criminals are you going to find kids trying to enroll?
That is disturbing, it is heartbreaking, it is reprehensible.
LAUSD Superintendent Alberto Carvalho addressed the matter during a back-to-school press conference with other school and city leaders.
Start by arresting him. All these people right here, they're all crooks. Right here. Right here. Take a look. Here you go, federal law enforcement. All of these people are crooks. Arrest them all. They won't. But there's the criminals you've been looking for. It's the government.
Well, the inflation is so great. You know, the economy is so fantastic that the gold price is you know, at a record all-time high and still not coming down. In fact, the Federal Reserve people here were even saying, what the hell? Why isn't the price of gold coming down? So they put a 49% tariff on gold imports into the country. This is the gold going back from 1970 here. When they came off the gold standard. This is the price of gold. I mean, it's a record 2 bubbles. We're in a double bubble. You have the first double bubble from about, you know, $300, less than $300 in year 2000, prior to the new American century orchestrated, planned out wars of the 1998 plan by the Council of Foreign Relations and Kissinger. You had the first bubble here up to 1950. And then the prices fell 50%, as you can see here to the Fibonacci chart. And now we're way up here, went to 3,500, and now it's dropping like a rock over the last 2 trading sessions here, down to 33.45, so down $55 quickly after the tariff. So they're raising the cost of the international gold price coming into America. America is exporting large amounts of gold right now. It doesn't need to be well, importing a lot of gold from foreign countries, but we have our own supply. We could be using our own supply instead of importing the gold that we are importing and just buying it inside of America, supplying ourselves instead of buying from foreign countries. So Trump has effectively shut off the American market to these foreign sellers now by putting a 49% tariff. So the price of the international gold sellers, it's gone up quickly. And the gold frauds lying to everybody are saying, well, that's going to skyrocket the price of gold. No, it's going to do the opposite. It's going to collapse the price of gold. And the reason it's going to collapse the price of gold is now these foreign sellers that are selling into America, they don't have anywhere to sell their gold anymore, and they need to sell it. So they need to find some buyers somewhere else in the rest of the world market. So now they're competing with all those people, and they need to cut the prices. Otherwise, they're not going to be. Nobody's going to buy it. So they need to compete in the international market, which will drive down the prices of the international gold sales. It's just going to make the American buyers that are buying the imports not buy those anymore and just buy them from America instead.
That's the point. That's the point of the tariffs.
Right. That's the entire point of it.
What is Bring 5 on the Facebook says 3.2K for an ounce. Yeah, it was up to over 3,500 an ounce.
Yeah, well,
1 ounce of gold.
It peaked at 3,500, and we're going to see a pullback likely. Will it go down 50% this time? I doubt it, because there's just a record numbers of gold sellers and gold frauds out there endlessly pumping the unified singular message to sell the Rothschild bankers bars, and everybody's being brainwashed by these central bank sellers of this product, brainwashed by them in a one-sided, unified, overwhelming propaganda message, right? To that this is never going to come down. Everything just goes endlessly to the moon. People talking about, this great reset. The golden age, they're going to reset to the gold standard. They're never going to reset to a gold standard. Trump has never talked about that. That's not his policy. It's never been his policy. These people are liars. They're just blatantly lying to everybody.
Hey, XRP will save us. XRP.
Right. There's not even enough gold in the entire world to back the United States dollar. You know how much
it's
gold?
The new quantum financial system. What do they say? Nasara Jasara, a debt jubilee.
Yeah, it's insane.
What they pump, the bullshit that they pump.
Yeah, it's like claiming that you're going to be able to back the U.S. dollar with like some cinnamon powder or something, some microscopic
could work
quantum dot or something like this. It's so tiny. Like if you spread the amount of gold out to the amount of you have, right? Even just the debt, they're saying, okay, 36 trillion in debt. They say, oh, it's not that, it's 100 and something trillion in debt. They're going to add, fraudulently add everything that they possibly can to all of this, which is not It's not any kind of reality. And then you have a few billion of gold that's supposedly supposed to back 100+ trillion dollars. And what about the world economy? What about the rest of the economy? What about all the other countries? Right? There's 94% of the population of the world is outside of America. What about all of that? You're going to back something with this tiny little bit of metal that you have? There's not enough to go around. It's just ridiculous. So the idea of doing it is ridiculous. It's never going to be done.
Golden age for them.
Exactly. Very good.
All right. I did, and then Bring 5, I did catch that where in that report about the ICE raid in the LA school, about they dropped bullets on the ground. Yeah, what the F? Is that fake news? I don't know. That's what they reported. Sounds, but who knows? They said we're getting rid, no education requirements, no age requirements. So who the hell knows who's working for ICE? Probably illegal alien cartel members at this point in time. Okay, let's take our live commercial break, and we'll be back with the second half of more news. We got public health, geopolitical news, and the genocide continues there in Gaza. Our live commercial break, go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers there. The holograph sticker, the white background sticker, and the clear sticker. Right there, you can see you'll get new ones. These are kind of tore up. These are good, but this one's the old sample. Anyway, go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers. We still have some books in the store. We take donations. No one's bringing you. I brought you the Cal exit versus new state of California debate. No one else has ever even attempted such a thing. Exclusive reports here. I brought you the press conference, Spencer versus Community Hospital last Friday. Not covered anywhere but here at Weaponized News. Bringing you all these. I brought you Johnny Vedmore yesterday, breaking down deep dive into Epstein because we're not allowed to talk about it anymore. And on and it goes, independent reporting and analysis like no one else on the interwebs, brought to you by Weaponized News. So please support our efforts. Go to the store, and we do appreciate all the subscribers and donations that we have gotten, but nowhere near to compete against billion-dollar propaganda outfits that are known as your mainstream corporate mockingbird media out there. And so every little bit helps. We do appreciate your support at Weaponized News. Go to weaponizednews.com. Go ahead, Thomas, and plug.
Thomas of Alpha Omega Energy here, making all the breakthrough energy technology that the United Nations just absolutely refuses to fund. In their 80 years of existence, they've never made a single startup fund in all of their collective lives, in all of these 70,000 so-called development NGOs. They've never made a venture capital fund, and there really are no venture capital funds for this sector, for breakthrough energy innovators that are open and distributed all around the world. Only the establishment in these richest cities in human history for the richest people in human history. So we have begun to construct a venture capital fund, an open venture capital fund that is online and remote and accessible to everybody everywhere. So please get involved for those who want to learn more about investing, early stage investing, and get into the venture capital industry, which the average salary is $100,000 to $380,000 a year, according to simple searches on Grok and other job websites, monster.com, Indeed, and these others, right? So we're starting the AOE BAM Fund, which is a business as a mission fund. It has a Christian ethos focused on funding Christian-oriented founders to eliminate the risk, which is the values issue of the founders. We have two new massive mega fraud scandals that have just broken yesterday. I'll get into in a second. But anyone can join our BAM Fund, Business as a Mission Venture Capital Fund. You don't need any money. You don't need any financial background or any educational background. You don't need to be somebody in the financial industry. Anyone can join, contribute, invest, fund, donate, and we're going to focus on funding social enterprises with sustainable businesses in a scalable model for growth. We're going to put it onto the blockchain, make it liquid and available to everybody around the world. And the anchor startup is going to be Alpha Omega Energy. And we have a list that we've decided on of 12 startups that are one check to profit business model. So it'll just take one check to construct, and not millions of dollars. All of them will be done and profitable in less than $250,000, all in the emerging markets for maximum impact. And we will beat 90% of venture capital investors in terms of the performance, achieving 3.75 times the initial capital invested in profit to cover the taxes as well, the capital gains taxes, so that they can come out with a 3x return on invested capital, multiple on invested capital, MOIC as the venture capital industry refers to it as, making it the top 10% in performance in the world by doing it much more secure than they do it and not having any of these big debacles and mega frauds. So you have Kathy Wood of ARK Invest. She funded this boxable company that's making these little tiny $50,000 houses. And now the valuation went to $3 billion. They raised more money in open crowdfunding than any company ever before, about $161 million. They ran a fraud that supposedly Elon Musk bought one of them and was living in one of them, but he didn't. And he had to actually go on X and state that he didn't buy one. He didn't, not living there at all. And now it's come out that their cost for their houses, it's much more expensive than the cost to construct a regular stick-built home, custom, whatever you want. It's way more expensive. And they're not, there's no orders. They have built this gigantic factory, and they only delivered like 30 of these houses. They're only doing like 30 of these houses out of a 3,600 house factory. And they're paying their executives millions and millions of dollars. The CEO is getting almost $10 million. And the losses all going to the sucker investors at this incredible valuation. And they don't get any votes, any voting rights. So
privatize the gains, socialize the losses. That's
But hey, you're in, and they even raised the price from 50,000 to 60,000 because inflation went down, according to Levitt.
Okay, moving on to public health. We have to be very careful about our reporting about the miracles here, as not to offend the community guidelines. But this is right from the government. YouTube. Here's old Jay Bhattacharya, their director of NIH, the new Fauci. Let's take a listen to what he had to say here about the new miracle coming into our life.
We have to invest in technologies that actually have a promise of working, that have not lost the trust of the American people, right? So, for instance, at the NIH, at the behest of Secretary Kennedy, we've invested in sort of a more traditional vaccine technology of whole virus inactivated vaccines for viruses for treating the flu or for preventing the flu, sort of a universal flu vaccine, that so you wouldn't necessarily have to get the flu vaccine every single year after year. We have to invest.
These guys, they just won't give up on the miracles. They're true believers. There was a shooting over the weekend, and they're saying that the gunman could have possibly been miraculously injured, and he was open fire at the CDC today or yesterday. Kennedy went there. Kennedy visited CDC headquarters in Atlanta. When was this? Yesterday, to respond to Friday's tragic gunfire attack that claimed the life of DeKalb County police officer David Rose there. And they're saying that it was a disgruntled miracle victim. Let's hear from Kennedy about that. CDC shooter blamed the bat miracle for making him depressed and suicidal. Well, we were told safe and effective, and that's the official line we're sticking to.
My message coming here was call for condolence to the family of police officer David Rose, and I'm hoping to visit Mariana, his wife, this afternoon, his 2 children, and she's pregnant with a third. And also to offer support of all the CDC employees who are part of a shining star health agency around the world. They should be proud of their work. They work in silence and saving us all and protecting our health. And they should not be the targets of this kind of violence from anybody. I come from a family that lost 2 of its members to political violence, and it's always wrong. And we need to make, part of my job is to make sure that we protect our employees and keep them safe and allow them to do their critical work.
There you go, keeping us safe. Continuing.
Keeping you safe from wrong inflation data.
NIH new clinical trial at NIH will test a miracle to prevent Epstein-Barr infection. It's like you can't even make this stuff up. It's right from here. Here you go.
But definitely not Jeff Epstein and Bill Barr.
They're literally mocking us with this stuff. Look at this. The miracle aims to produce antibodies to protect certain cells from infection, including those in the throat. Like they can target it like that. But what the hell? It's safe and effective. Trust it. It's in the first in human clinical trial of a miracle for Epstein-Barr. It's just, come on, man. Oh man. Okay. NIH first 200 days. This when did they post this? Yesterday, so we're not that late. Okay, NIH first 100 days of saving our lives, so we didn't even know. America produced the greatest medical research in the world. Within 200 days, NIH has launched Generation Gold Standard to extend immunization protection for upper respiratory disease beyond strain-specific limits of old miracles by using traditional miracle technology to deliver an immune response with long-lasting protection. Launched a 5-year research study to assess and address the long-term health outcomes stemming from the 2023 train derailment in East Palestine. This historic research initiative will finally result in answers that this community deserves, according to Mr. Technocracy J.D. Vance. That's a direct quote. Created a biomarker score for predicting diets high in ultra-processed foods, which are linked to increased risk of obesity and related chronic diseases. Launched the Autism Data Science Initiative to support science into the etymologically of autism, introducing a new initiative to expand innovative human-based science and reduce animal use research. I remember reported on this. They're skipping the animal trials and going straight to human experimentation. We do appreciate that effort. Started a process to crack down on excessive publisher fees for publicly funded research. Mandated the peer review publications resulting from NIH funding are made freely available to the public without delay. And finally, cut 200 plus DEI grants that sought to co-opt medical research to divide the American people. Okay. So great efforts there by the NIH in public health.
And let's go into that just for a second. How is it that they're supposed to deliver a quote unquote long-lasting immune response, right? The only way to do this is you would have to have cytokine molecules produced in the body and have those stay in the body for long periods of time. And that effectively would be making the body more acidic, which they've then brainwashed everyone to think that that causes a cancer, an acidic, right? Ketosis, going into ketosis, ketones in the body would supposedly cause cancer, but we see it actually heals cancer, right? It breaks up these parasite colonies, breaks up the tumors, heals your cells. But that's not what they're doing with these miracle shots. They're not causing anything that is going to cause that kind of situation in the body. If anything, they're putting more phosphoric acid into your body, which is the backbone of these shots, the DNA and mRNA shots. Whether they're using mRNA technology or not, if they use the DNA technology, then it will do that. It causes a more acidic basis, which destroys your cells, damages your cells, proven to cause osteoporosis in the bones, proven to cause chronic kidney disease. There's no way that they can actually achieve this, as they're saying, unless you believe in some just magical boogeyman story.
Well, you don't question the science on the show, Thomas. All right, and as Denver told us here, that they're repurposing a second life for the bat miracles, and so again, repurposing the new and more lovable, efficient federal government. The generation gold standard, they keep using gold standard, the new golden era. NIH, again, advancing beyond one strain at a time approach. Generation gold standard, universal, non-mRNA, whole disease technology for broad and durable protection.
So, and they all told us right before this, whole virus, you can never possibly, that was unethical. You could never possibly put a whole virus into somebody. You couldn't do that because you're literally giving them the disease, the boogeyman, right? You had to give them an inactivated or a broken so-called virus, right? And they would never show the molecules of that.
Medical ethics are a conspiracy theory, as we continue to report here at Weaponized News. Our commitment is clear. Every innovation in miracle development must be grounded in gold standard science and transparency and subjected to the highest standards of safety and efficacy testing.
So they're putting the whole virus into you now, right? Literally putting the virus into you that they say is the big risk. They don't want you to get it. They need to protect you from getting it by putting it directly into you first.
See, I trust the science. Recalibrates America's pandemic preparedness, embodies efficient, transparent, and government-led research. Isn't that an oxymoron right there? Marks the future of miracle development. Here's the press release. Again, go to Weaponized News, Substack, and you'll see the links to everything we talk about here, or the majority of things. Okay, moving on. First GMO salmon, then lab-grown 3D printed meat, now butter made from carbon. So Bill Gates,
vax shrimp vaccines. They're vaccinating your shrimp.
Butter made from carbon tastes like the real thing. Gets backing from Bill Gates. And see, Mr. Philanthropist Bill Gates is always out there on the cutting edge of saving the planet and saving our lives. And so God bless Bill Gates, if you're God Satan, of course.
But carbon, I thought carbon was pollution. It's the worst pollution in the world. Hey, let's take the pollution and feed it to the homeless.
That's what they're doing. Check out this. The bionic bee is terrifying, weighing just 34 grams, unveiled at China's World Robo Conference this weekend. Imagine this Robo Bee drone weaponized against you. No audio for this video, sadly. I don't know. Is that any better than just a regular drone has flapping wings?
Doesn't look as reliable, you know.
Okay,
I guess Israel will test it out soon in Gaza.
They'll kill some Palestinians with it for sure. Okay, Sam Altman fried your guy here. He's announcing OpenAI's Sam Altman freed Zuckerberg, whatever. It's all like the same guy with a lizard mask covering their lizard face. Is backing a new company that plans to connect human brains to computers. Where have we heard this before from old Neuralink? Elon Musk, brain implants. OpenAI's co-founder Sam Altman is backing a new company called Merge Labs, which plans to compete with Elon Musk's Neuralink by connecting human brains to computers. Merge Labs is seeking $250 million in funding and is currently valued at $850 million. There for your startups, Thomas.
Instantly 850 million valuation. Yet another one. Where have we seen this before? How attractive for the investors? How attractive for the retail investors? Already $1 billion just from the get-go. And where's this supposed to go, right? Incredible value for the investors. So I'll pull up some more data on the Boxable financial situation, so you can see how bad it really is. In a minute here, Sam has gone silent. Let's just, I don't have that ready yet. So let's have a look at the SP 500.
Okay, moving on here. Then the MAIDS program there in Canada. Canada's Medical Assistance in Dying program, legalized in 2016, initially for the terminally ill patients nearing death, has rapidly expanded to include those with serious but non-terminal conditions since 2021, and is poised for further broadening to encompass mental illness by 2027. And again, remember, that's if you speak against a public health policy. Anything the state does, they can declare you mentally ill, schedule you for MAIDS program treatment, medical assistance in dying program. They're doing it in front of our eyes here now. Physicians who grapple with ethical dilemmas, again, medical ethics are conspiracy theory, emotional strain and inconsistent eligibility interpretation, such as defining incurable conditions based on patient refusal of treatment through personal anecdotes from providers. It's illustrated both empowering aspects of the MAID program, dignified dying for cancer patients, but it also has darker sides to it, including cases where vulnerable individuals seek euthanasia due to systemic healthcare failures like inadequate home care or long wait times rather than the illness itself. Critics, including disability advocates and the United Nations, warn of coercion risk for marginalized groups. So the MAIDS program is doing very well there in Canada.
Well, probably they can send all the homeless up to Trudeau there in Carney for a tax discount. That could be possible.
Have you seen this story? Apparently, it's illegal now to go in the forest up there in Canada. Have you seen this story?
Yeah, the one place where there are not forest fires in the southern part of the country, southeastern tip of the country, you can get fined 28,000 plus, as they say 25,000, but actually the fine for this guy was over $28,000. So he walked in to challenge this into court. He walked in to the forest announcing this ahead of time on one of the government offices there. I'm not sure exactly what that office was that he did it. And they're claiming that they got to keep people out of the forest to stop climate change fires from the CO2 pollution that they're now using to make your butter and feeding it to you.
Okay. Well, allegedly being reported everywhere, Trump is going to meet with Putin in Alaska on Friday, and they're saying that Ukraine is trying to undermine peace negotiations, and Russia's trying to undermine peace negotiations. So who really knows at this point? Of course, Putin's bad. And so the back and forth goes on here. Will we get any peace deal out of this? I don't know, as Russia doesn't look to want to give up Crimea, and Ukraine doesn't look to want to give up Crimea. So it looks like that's a major point of contention amongst other land there in the region that the war is raging on over now. And of course, Ukraine's membership into NATO is a primary point of contention as well. And so we'll see how that sorts out. It's supposed to be coming up here now. Of course, the failing New York Times to try to submarine any peace talks. Russia is suspected to be behind breach of federal court filing system. Of course, evil Putin would do such a thing there. And we're going to see more Russia bad reports as the week goes on here toward the meeting, the summit there in Alaska. Former South Korean First Lady Kim Keon-hee is arrested. Amazing here. High up people in the government in South Korea are being arrested. As remember, the president there was forced to resign over his head fake about calling martial law earlier in the year. The court cites risk of evidence destruction in bribery stock fraud case. For the first time in history, both a former president and spouse are in custody in South Korea. She is accused of taking luxury gifts, election interference, and insider trading. Seems like there's a little bit more law and order going on there in South Korea than we ever would dream of seeing here in America. And then to celebrate, of course, everybody's favorite globalist, George Soros, it is his 95th birthday, and it seems like he may have got the life extension technology along with Kissinger and Rockefeller. Some globalists don't seem to make it this long, but somehow, some way, his evil deeds have found his happy birthday, George Soros, at age 95. And of course, his son, Alex Soros, heir apparent to the throne of corruption there, says 95 years for the GOAT, the sideways Baphomet, goat of Mindy's esoteric occult reference. Happy birthday, Dad. There, so happy birthday, George Soros. British HMRC admits to using AI to spy on taxpayers, according to UK Telegraph. AI assistants examine digital footprints and spending habits to detect tax evasion. The AI system flags individuals living beyond their means and showing off on social media. Yeah, not a very good idea. You could expect the same coming to the IRS here now as it's integrated with Palantir software systems. Thomas, you got your report ready? No?
Yeah, we'll pull it up here. And of course, don't worry about anything. As Levitt said, don't listen to the refuseniks. Trust
Don't
your
be a
SEC.
panicking. A panicking.
Yeah, don't be a panicking. Trust your SEC. So we'll give people a view of the Boxable home scandal here, which you got 1,000 videos online saying that these are inside Elon Musk's famous $50,000 tiny home, which of course Elon Musk has gone out of his way to say he doesn't live in one and he didn't buy one. And they went through this massive effort to place these things at the Elon Musk Tesla Motors factory.
You don't believe the richest man in the world lives in a freaking shipping container?
A leaking one. They leak as well in the storms. So they, of course, count on the United States government to have purchased some of these for Guantanamo Bay as some alternate to building some new facility for a short period of time. And then when you have the rains, they leak. And so they had to stop the project because they're not waterproof. The roof is folding, and they had to make some new plastic cover there on this because they're leaking everywhere. They didn't even so much as rain test them. But what they did is they blew $180 million. It's gone. They raised well over $200 million, in the biggest crowdfunding campaign raises in history. And $180 million of the cash is already vaporized. Good luck finding out where it is. The SEC came in and did an investigation and found, just like when the police always investigate themselves, we found no wrongdoing. So the SEC has already cleared them somehow with $180 million missing. So let's just play a little bit of this. We won't go through all of it. Okay, so that's a lie. First of all, you have these things taking many months. The ones down in Guantanamo Bay, some of them taking over 3 months to build, some of them taking 9 months to build, despite this. And on top of that, there's no water, there's no utilities to any of these. There's no toilets, there's no sewage, there's no electricity, there's nothing. It's just a box, right? And they always leave that part out.
There's no audio on your video there, Thomas.
Oh, there's no audio for some reason? Okay, I'm sharing on the wrong window. We'll adjust that here. But they talk about the rain issue, but then when it comes time to building it, right, find out that it's all a scam. They didn't rain-proof their buildings. They didn't test them for water at all. Though they're trying to say, oh, you know, the regular houses take too long to build. Theirs take just as long. Regular houses, you have leaking in the construction process. So does theirs. And there's leaks after they're even finished. So that's a major issue. So now the scandal videos have come out exposing this, which are really fantastic. And I posted them online in our groups. If anybody wants to get the scandal videos, can go to our Telegram channel, can connect with me and check the Alpha Omega Energy Telegram channel to see that. We'll get that video up here shortly, but you can imagine $180 million in cash being vaporized in, you know, just a year to 2 years. It's absolutely outrageous. So, and the gross loss that it's costing them, they're selling these things. They're supposed to be $50,000, but now they're losing $220,000 per box house. That's how much they are losing as a company. $227,000. In many places in America, it doesn't even cost $227,000 to build a stick-built, 2,000 square foot home. It's not even costing that in many different locations around the country. But here we are yet again, another orchestrated scam. And these guys have been involved in a bunch of different companies, all failures from what anybody can find here. So we'll get some of the details up. And there's another one, Kathy Wood, involved in yet another scam, another one of these drone companies. We'll cover that next week. I'll be more prepared for that. Endless numbers of drone scams, endless numbers of fake intelligence scams here. Let's see if
well, at least Sam Altman-Fried's companies got that big valuation, so for putting a brain chip in you.
Yeah, $1 billion right off the get-go. And where's the revenue? Where's the financial success from that? Where are they getting the revenue, right? No revenue, no customers. You're just supposed to pay them $1 billion and that's it. And blind faith trust us. Yeah, blind faith trust us that one day this is going to come in, and then
one day you'll get your brain chip.
Yeah, we're going to SPAC it and put it onto the market, and you retail investors are supposed to eat this up, and all of your pension funds, the money managers are just going to put that in there. So Hal Boxable faked its way to $3 billion in valuation, but we definitely whatever, as long as we can dodge from funding those pesky breakthrough energy innovators and make sure that the UN blocks them on the internet, hey, I'm all for it, right?
It's no secret that there's a housing shortage in the U.S. According to Zillow, the U.S. has a deficit of 4.7 million homes. This has resulted in 8.1 million American families sharing homes with unrelated families, as neither of them can afford a home on their own. According to Pew Research, almost 1/3 of American households spend more than 30% of their income on housing. One potential solution is prefabricated tiny homes.
Right. So this is the scam that they're trying to sell people on, and now they're saying, well, we can solve the homeless problem in America by our way overpriced houses that leak. Right. So here's the marketing that they did, that they showed. They photoshopped a picture with the CEO here, with Elon Musk, without Elon Musk's permission to do that, and we're pretending and marketing, claiming that this is the house that he was living in. Elon Musk made this tweet. I don't know if it was a joke or what was happening, but they did put one of these on the Tesla Motors property. They then raised $140 million in a raise there, crowdfunding, but now they've raised significantly more than that, like $230 million they've raised in these crowdfunding campaigns. And they only have $56 million in cash currently. So that's $180 million that they've vaporized. So on the Tesla SpaceX property there, this was their advertising campaign. I don't know what is Elon Musk's involvement with this, how he allowed that to occur, possibly with
all you ever needed was a voice.
No
lights, no.
They definitely want to get the ad in there.
Electric Property Licensing Company.
So here's your a couple more of your executives there, and they have a factory. They did build a factory with some of the money, and then they put these over in Guantanamo, some of them, and they're these massive leaking issues here, and took many months to build. And the troops there, they had to put, so you can see on the roof here, they had to put these plastic over top of it in order to try to keep the rain out. But here you have the wind, and the storms have blown these all apart, and it's not working. So the customers, and leakage in the doors as well. So the customer, I mean, very poorly built, very poorly designed for these kind of conditions. And then they raised the price. They want you to think that there's no inflation. They've raised the prices now by $10,000. So what was Elon Musk's involvement in this? He said, my primary home is literally a 50K house in Boca Chica. Lying again. Remember, for years he was saying this, but he had one of the most valuable real estate portfolios in California history. Multiple houses on the top of the hill, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate property. Where he says, the only house I own is the events house in the Bay Area, and that was found to be a lie as well. He had a number of properties that were revealed in different locations. And Boxable lied on their website that Elon Musk's tiny house is a boxable casita, but then Elon said it's not a boxable, right? And then Boxable, the company, they removed that page, the blog page that it was on. They got rid of that. And then here you have the Boxable house. Of course, they never talk about the fact that there's no utilities, right? They show a kitchen, but there's no plumbing. There's no water coming into the house at all. There's no electricity coming into the house. So you got a diesel generator over here providing some electricity into the house at incredibly high cost. And then the pollution, you know, are you even allowed to do that? The climate change people will probably be protesting outside of your house right away if you thought about doing that, right? So they're being exposed, but the SEC says it's just fine. Probably been some insider trading there. So raised massive amounts of money. And here they've been, right, 5-6 years that they've been running here. And what do you got? Massive losses. Here's the stock. They made all of the even preferred shares to be non-voting. So nobody even gets a vote. Nobody gets a say. Nobody can do anything about any of this, right? And sold it at billions of dollars in valuation when they have no sales, no revenue, no nothing. They don't have any valuable new technology or something like that. They don't have any IP portfolio that they own. And they're paying massive amounts of money to the $10.5 million to the CEO per year, $6 million to the chief financial officer per year, and $1 million effectively to the 4 other executive officers. So just robbing the investors when they're not really right, they're not doing anything in terms of financial performance. Here's their financial performance: massive losses, $40 million for 2024, and it's getting even worse. They lost $75 million in the last 12 months, according to Yahoo financial data. So it's just an absolute disaster. Even though they raised the price, I mean, it's not helping them. And then there's additional shipping costs, foundation, site prep, and utilities of $20,000 to $60,000 that you got to pay. So double the price, $120,000, just to get some basic utilities to it. And then you need to buy land, right? Of course, you need some land to put it on. You're going to need to buy land, and the land's going to be $60,000 to $150,000, even if you're out in the countryside somewhere like that. And then permits, landscaping upgrades, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's just, once again.
All right, team, we're transitioning to Slack, but tasks are still going to be on Bullfrog. Did nobody see my poppycock post?
Sorry about that, folks. They want to get their construction. So their construction cost, when you compare it to the average construction cost of the regular houses, as a company, they're losing $227,000 per house in their financials. Let's go through here. And the cost per square foot, even their variable costs per square foot, not the total cost per square foot, is much more expensive than the stick-built average traditional construction cost for a custom home that is water sealed and has all the utilities, has land underneath it and everything, built to code. So it's just yet another, as you can say, yet another Silicon Valley fraud.
Well, you just hate homeless people.
Yeah, I'm so hateful. Block me. Make sure that the United Nations development aid organizations block the innovators once again.
Okay, on to the final section of the show here, as we're almost at the 2-hour mark, 1 hour 47-minute mark. The genocide there continues in the West Asia region. Iran wasn't very happy about their 12-day war here. Over 20,000 arrested in Iran on suspicion of espionage during the war with the aardvarks. And so Iran has seen a major crackdown there. Over 20,000 arrested. Iran's tightrope walk. This is via Simon. He sent Strategic Council on Foreign Relations of Iran, balancing BRICS and SCO cooperations with strategic autonomy amid U.S. sanctions. Can multipolar diplomacy pay off? I don't know. They're trying to play all sides. I don't know. Here's our shadow president, Bibi. Bibi's offering Iranians cutting-edge water recycling technology if they overthrow their government. But the problem is he's been trying to sell this idea since 2018. Let's hear him one more time try to incite the Iranian people to overthrow their government.
Greetings from Jerusalem to the proud people of Iran. Your leaders forced a 12-day war on us, and they lost miserably. They lie through their teeth, but on rare occasions, they tell the truth. A few days ago, the Iranian president said, "We have problems with water, electricity, money, and inflation. Where don't we have a problem? There won't be any water in the dams by September or October." He's right. Everything is collapsing. In this brutal summer heat, you don't even have clean, cold water to give your children. Such hypocrisy. Such disdain for the Iranian people. To live like this is not fair to you. It's not fair to your children. But I have very good news. Israel is the #1 recycler of water in the world. We recycle 90% of our wastewater, and we lead the world in desalination. We know exactly what to do, so Iran can also have plentiful water. Almost a decade ago, I opened a Telegram channel in Farsi to teach water management to Iranians. 100,000 Iranians joined almost instantly. The thirst for water in Iran is only matched by the thirst for freedom. So here's the great news. The moment your country is free, Israel's top water experts will flood into every Iranian city, bringing cutting-edge technology and know-how.
This guy with the picture of ice water as they're carrying out the blockade, blocking food, water, medicine, electricity into Gaza. It's just other.
But they're making sure to send miracle shots, so that's got to be.
Well, polio. Here's old Levitt, Barbie press secretary lady, again reminding us the worst day in the history of the world.
October 7th was one of the worst days in history. October 7th was one of the worst days in history.
There you go. One of the worst days in history. And I'm reminded over there on the Odysee, where's it at? Let me find it quickly. I am reminded on the Odysee by All the World's a Stage, this post where they say, was October 7th a surprise attack? Does the sun and clouds, as people go through and analyze these videos, are the body cams frauds? And as we've mentioned too, there's reports that some of these videos of the attack of the worst day in the world ever was an AI generated video as well. And so all of that for the worst.
It definitely wasn't the worst because Israel used the Hannibal doctrine and murdered their own people.
They also mentioned that we may have to sanction Australia now. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says Benjamin Netanyahu is over denial over the consequences of the Gaza war. And so antiseptic behavior coming out of Australia here now.
Decisions of the Netanyahu government, firstly, the stopping of aid that we've seen, and then the loss of life that we're seeing around those aid distribution points, where people queuing for food and water, losing their lives, it is just completely unacceptable. And we have said that. I spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu. He again reiterated to me what he has said publicly as well, which is to be in denial about the consequences that are occurring for innocent people. There has been too many innocent lives lost, both Israelis and Palestinians, and the world is saying we need a solution to this conflict. We need to end the cycle of violence, and the way to do that is to have a two-state solution with a demilitarized Palestinian state, where Hamas, of course, have no role to play in that, and a secure Israel as a state which is recognised by the states around it.
All hype from the West to play the good guys. Here's old ADL head Greenblatt, where he catches himself identifying as an aardvark instead of an American. Shocking, I know.
Think about this. The national symbol, let's say, of Hezbollah is a rifle. That's what's on their flag. The national symbol of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is a sword. That's what's on their flag. The national symbol of Israel is the shield. It's the Star of David. The symbol of our people is not a weapon of war. It's an instrument of defense. The thing that most embodies our entire ethos is not harming others. It's, again, creating a better world. This is fundamental to our tradition for thousands of years. And so the idea that our national anthem would be the Hatikva, would be the hope. I should say it's the Israel's national anthem. So the idea that our national anthem would be the Hatikva, would be the hope. I should say it's the Israel's national anthem. Think about this.
On the Jewish broadcasting service, right? The star of Remphan, right? Literally the star of Satan there, the star of Remphan, and he talks about his tradition.
It's a shield. It's a shield to protect Thomas.
Right. And he talks about his tradition, which when you read the Talmud, it says to kill the goyim is literally like an offering to God. It's the same as an offering to God, and you should do it, and you should conspire to do it, and conspire to dispossess them of their property, their land, their possessions. And if you do it conspiring with your fellow Talmudics, that is a good thing, and it should be done, and there's no punishment that will come to you.
Righteous.
That's their tradition.
Righteous in the eyes of God, if your God is Satan. Former Secretary of State Antony Blinken said yesterday that while many Western countries plan to recognize a Palestinian state in September at the UN General Assembly, with good intentions, they are approaching the issue incorrectly. With the Gaza crisis still unfolding, this focus on recognition seems totally beside the more pressing realities amid the suffering of Palestinian civilians and aardvark hostages, and aardvark lands announced plan to occupy all or part of the enclave, averting famine, recovering the hostages, and ending the conflict in Gaza are the priorities. Talk of two states can wait, according to an op-ed by Mr. Antony Blinken, there, Mr. Satanist, and self-proclaimed Zionist as well. Glad that he was a Secretary of State for America here. And then moving on with more pieces of garbage. Here is the ambassador to Aardvark land, Mike Huckabee, Christian Zionist piece of trash. Let's hear what he had to say.
Why does Hamas hate GHF? One of the things they demanded in one of the negotiations just 2.5 weeks ago was that GHF had to be shut down. Why would Hamas want to shut it down? I'll tell you why. Because GHF method of getting food has really hurt their capacity to control the food market, and it's costing them money. Otherwise, they would say, sure, go ahead and bring the food in. All we care about is people getting to eat. But they don't care about people getting to eat. They care that they eat. And if you look at the people from Hamas, when they get photographed, they're well fed. None of them are hungry. I guarantee you, look at their faces.
Because they're all Western intelligence agents. Oh, man. Why are they mad at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation? I don't know, because people line up to get food and they get shot. Aardvark land conducts deadly strike against fake aid workers. And so, of course, they were Hamas. Here's the video of it. But the Newsweek is reporting here. So any strike they do on anyone is justified because it's fake and they're terrorists. The IDF recently conducted a deadly strike targeting what it said were armed individuals posing as staff for an international organization dedicated to providing food relief. The news came as the IDF has sought to push back against global outcry over the killings of civilian aid workers on the Gaza Strip. And then here's a video of the terrorist aid workers. They claim to be Palestinian fighters in central Gaza disguising themselves as members of the World Central Kitchen, using a vehicle marked with the World Central Kitchen logo and wearing yellow vests to evade detection. Yeah, here's just so you guys can get an idea about it. There they are. Looks like Hamas to me. And we've had this issue. There's no video, no audio on this video, but we've had this issue of attacking the World Health or World Kitchen people before, for those following. along here with the genocide, they do have guns. And they did get whacked. 5 of them. Continuing here. Aardvark Land rejects UN allegations that its forces have sexually abused detained Palestinians. We reported at the time when it came out, whistleblowers at the camps there in Aardvark Land. But hey, UN liars, Hamas terrorists, obviously. Aardvark Land bombards Gaza City as UK and allies demand action against unfolding famine, BBC reports. So BBC are a bunch of anti-Semitic Hamas as well. Here now, let me just put that on the screen there for the headline as we continue to report. And what else do we got? Aardvark Land is in talks to possibly resettle Palestinians from Gaza into South Sudan, the AP reports. And so, i.e., ethnic cleansing. And I said, well, let's not just throw around the jargon, as they say. What is the textbook definition, as we gave for you last week and many times, of genocide? The textbook definition of ethnic cleansing is the systemic and intentional forced removal, expulsion, or displacement of individuals belonging to a specific ethnic, racial, or religious group from a given territory, often through violent coercion or terror-inspired means such as deportation, intimidation, imprisonment, or killing, with the primary aim of creating an ethnically homogeneous area. The term emerged predominantly in the 1990s during conflicts in the former Yugoslavia, but has been applied to various historical and ongoing situations worldwide. It is distinct from genocide, which focuses on the destruction of a group though ethnic cleansing can overlap with or escalate into genocide, crimes against humanity, or war crimes under international law. And isn't that exactly what they're proposing right here? Indeed, it is. So ethnic cleansing and genocide program going on there in Gaza, and the United States is complicit in these activities. Here's more from Bibi on I-24 News. He talks about the ethnic cleansing program here, but it's a humanitarian effort for their own good.
אבל אתה באמת מאמין שנראה בסופו של דבר הגירה מעזה?
אם לגבי עזה?
כן.
אני רוצה לשאול אותך שאלה, מה זאת אומרת? מה זה? אני לא מבין בכלל את הטענה הזאת. מה זה, עזה צריכה להיות מקום סגור? בכל זירות המלחמה האחרות, בסוריה מיליונים יצאו, מלחמת האזרחים שם, באוקראינה מיליונים יצאו, באפגניסטן בכל מיליונים עזבו. ופתאום קובעים כאן שבעזה צריך לכלוא את האזרחים, תן להם את האפשרות לצאת, קודם כל לצאת מאזורי לחימה, בכלל לצאת מהרצועה, אם הם רוצים. אנחנו נאפשר את זה, קודם כל בתוך עזה, בזמן הלחימה, ובוודאי נאפשר להם גם לצאת מעזה. לא דוחקים אותם החוצה, אבל מאפשרים להם לצאת החוצה, וזה מה
אז קורה נורא לאט, כל התהליך, לא?
אתה צריך את המדינות הקולטות, אנחנו מדברים עם כמה וכמה מדינות, אני לא יכול לפרט את זה כאן.
יש הענות מיוחדת?
יש הידברות, זה כבר חשוב.
אתה מאמין שזה...
ועם יותר ממדינה.
אתה באמת מאמין שזה יקרה בסופו של דבר?
אני חושב שזה הדבר הכי טבעי. הדבר הכי טבעי היה שכל אלה שמדברים, שהם דואגים לפלסטינים ורוצים לעזור לפלסטינים, שיפתחו את הדלתות שלהם. מה אתם באים ומטיפים לנו? תפתחו את הדלתות, אנחנו נאפשר לאנשים האלה לצאת, ונאפשר להם לצאת כפי ש...
Don't preach to us, he says, as he's openly discussing ethnic cleansing. Continuing here, Bibi talks religion. It's time to get worried. He says he's on a historical and spiritual mission to Greater Aardvark Land, to realize Greater Aardvark Land. Let's watch this clip. truly psychotic.
מה אנחנו עושים כאן? אנחנו כאן בשליחות של דורות. יש דורות של יהודים שחלמו שנגיע לכאן, ויש דורות של יהודים שיבואו אחרינו. אז אתה שואל אם אני מרגיש שאני בשליחות היסטורית ורוחנית, התשובה היא כן.
אני לא רוצה לסבך אותך לסיום עם תיק 6000, אבל...
מה זה?
זה הוויז'ן שלי, זה אחד הדברים שחלמתי עליהם, מפת הארץ המובטחת.
יפה.
הגיע הזמן, קוראים לזה ירושלם. אני לא נותן את זה לך, אני מעניק את זה לך כדי שתיתן את זה לך שרה.
תודה רבה.
אתה מתחבר לחזון?
מאוד.
באמת?
מאוד.
בישראל השלמה.
So there's an honest press there in Aardvark land, I-24, giving them gifts during the interview.
Great, a map of Greater Israel. And what is that exactly, right? They sent a map of the...
yeah,
right,
essentially.
Can you even call it America? Is Israel too? Israel proxy state? Can we even call it America?
Aardvark land in talks to send Palestinians to Gaza, to South Sudan in ethnic cleansing scheme. That Associated Press, that report that we showed you here now, with again, Bibi openly supports what he calls voluntary migration. You're gonna move one way or another. A euphemism now recognized as forcible expulsion in violation of international law, i.e., ethnic cleansing. There, right? Of course,
but only enough to get Macron or Talmudic Zionist extremist Keir Starmer to say, "Hey, we'll recognize Palestine, but oh wait, we won't. We'll only recognize Palestine, if they actually leave and give back the hostages, which are hiding under the rubble somewhere, wherever that is. Yet they can blow them up with pagers, get every single one of them, and they have access to every phone, every computer click that there is. So they will recognize it, but they won't. They haven't recognized it, right? So just fake talk that they supposedly will to then win political favor, right, amongst the constituents, right? Successfully defraud the public that they're supposedly on the right side, twisting those democrat voters, those leftists, commissarists around on themselves to think that they're the ones that are actually fighting against this.
Bringing the bleeding hearts on in for the big hug, the big win that ain't going nowhere. Ruckus says, someone get him a cough drop. I know he's something in his throat there. Okay, that's all we got for today.
Well, let's squeeze this one last one in. I know you'll love this because you love the Fed. The Fed is your favorite. We've got... it's hilarious to see this, so I've got to show. We got a new applicant. I guess he needs a job, right? With the terrible job conditions, since no jobs have been created in the last 3 months, as the stock market rockets to new record highs. We now have the Bullard. Many people called him buffoon Bullard or brainless Bullard. He was in the Fed from 2008 until 2023 under the debacle that Greenspan created last time for the economy. And he has applied for the federal chairman's job, shockingly enough. And this guy, he was all for skyrocketing interest rates just in 2022 and 2023. He was all for that. At the tiny little bit of inflation data happening there, he wanted to skyrocket the interest rate to make it even harder for the American public and businesses to be able to survive and produce goods and services to get the prices back down again by increasing supply. So, and that's exactly the opposite of what America needs, what humanity needs, is to skyrocket the interest rates when the goods prices are going up because they destroyed the supply chains. So that's not good. He also, when interest rates were cut to just 1% during the Bush administration, or the administration of the time, 2008 under Obama, right? 2008 through 2014, coming out of that, he originally came out of the Bush administration, but when the interest rates were down at 1%, he continued to scream, "I still don't understand why there's no inflation. I still don't understand why there's no inflation." And he continued saying this for 6, 7, 8 years, even though you had the massive oversupply of China dumping endless amounts of goods into America at record pace never before seen in history. And this is what he was saying. I mean, this guy is totally incompetent, has, you could say, no idea what the hell he's doing. But this is yet again more orchestration happening here in real time. So this guy's applying for the job. Hopefully he won't get it, but we might actually see that a return to the same old policies.
I hope he gets it so we can continue the charade. Okay, that's all we got for today. Let's go to the channels quickly. Odysee. I see John in there. He says, trust the guy. Don't be a panicking, John. Trust in Trump. Trust the guy who was mentored by mob lawyer and was Epstein's closest friend for at least a decade. Trust the guy who cheated on 3 of his wives and stiffs his creditors 6 times. Trust in Trump. John, you heard from White House Barbie press secretary lady there. Is Orange Aardvark setting the precedent that result in martial law? Huffman said it sounds like he called it in D.C. Yeah, we're getting very dangerous here with the martial law being rolled out and the federalization of the police force, which again in times past conservatives would be screaming mad about, but their guy's in charge, so it's all fine and dandy and wonderful. Fat Bob's over there on the Odysee as well. Yeah, the Jones Plantation was brilliant indeed there, John. What problem is a robot bee solving exactly? I don't know. So they can kill all of the natural pollinators and bring in the robots and then continue to spray the deadly pesticides on everything. I don't even know why you would need to at that point in time because all the pests would be dead, but it's for your public health consumption, of course.
And we need to siphon all of your pension fund money into the hands of these oligarchs.
And bankrupt you on your way out as you were poisoned right as you are set to retire, i.e. Rockefeller Medicine business plan. Isn't it all so wonderful? Okay, thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee, keeping that chat going lively as well as we look forward to full-on, hey, what the hell, nationwide martial law as they're forming these special high quick response units. What is it called? Domestic Civil Disturbance Quick Reaction Force. And of course, it's for your own good and public safety. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Bitchute, the Rumble live chat as always. Thank you guys for tuning in there. Denver with some harsh words for aardvarks. They're the good guys. All right. They're the good guys. Don't be antiseptic. And then, of course, the YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in on the YouTube, Facebook, Kick, and Twitch, and X, of course, as always. Everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. We'll be back here tomorrow on Wednesday with more.